So I'm going to begin, but I'm making this quick video until my battery runs out on my laptop because the connector in Mexico is not close by. But um, I made this because were quite a few people that were saying, um, I said I'm down here for treatment for MSA, and people were like, treatment? Like everyone out of woodwork's like, treatment? We need treatment. And I have a feeling I made a post. I said, I hope everyone is not confusing the word treatment with cure, because there is no cure. Okay, there is no cure for MSA. So that's why I want to make this very, very clear. Um, sorry for all the ambulances and police behind me. There you go. I came down here because of a person I know online called Carrie Walsh. And if you go to MSA Crusaders podcast, you will really hear it before and after. We have a video somewhere, but back in the early days of the podcast, we didn't record video, so we may not have kept it, just because. But we have the audio of before and after, right? Carrie went from completely not working and being in a debilitated status to now being what I believe so. What she said was, basically back to work, and maybe not normal, but as close as possible as to before MSA. And I saw her look on her face before and after she came down here to Mexico, to Guadalajara, and I was able to see how she looked, how she moved, her mannerisms, right, her vocal cords, everything. Before we interviewed with video, but we only posted audio, just to be fair. And now we do mostly all of it video. So it was important. Once I saw the difference between before and after of Carrie, I knew for a fact the change, there had to be something there. And again, I'm only talking about treatment. I'm not talking about cure, but treatment, prolonging your life, giving you back the skills that you had, or helping you. That's what I wanted. So, there were many other places I went to as far as stem cells. I mean, we went to Chicago and had stem cells done for about $10,000. And they took my own bone marrow and invigorated it with the oxygenated basically, and called it stem cells. But that's all they did. They put air inside of it, not air, but they invigorated it. Maybe added some additives, but they used my own bone marrow. And what I know now is that is possibly a cop out for companies to get easy money. If you're a healthy person, you get healthy stem cells. Unhealthy people have unhealthy stem cells. Everywhere? No, but in general, yes. So I came here because of Carrie Walsh before and after. Seeing is believing. And I was able to see exactly, what she was, what she went through. And it was important because there are many treatments available. There are too many people who say, in this country or that country or this city or this state, we're treating this, we're doing that, we're, whatever. It could be clinical trials. It could be a doctor here in Mexico or China or Russia, whatever. And it's very hard to navigate yourself amongst all the people who have miracle cures, to be honest with you. Well, seeing is believing. And that's what happened with Carrie Walsh on MSA Crusaders podcast. I saw her, and as soon as we were done, and I told Carrie, I said, because usually when you say someone's glowing, you say they're pregnant. But I said, man, your skin is like, it's glowing, it's glistening, like your skin, like not dry and shedding like that, like that's what MSA. And I told my wife, I said, man, she looks so good after the stem cells. I mean, the way she talked, with her posture, like everything. And to hear it now that she's back to work again in her profession is even better. So here's where I will begin the important things. I had to Google the phrase, but the phrase was, it's not about the destination, it's the journey. Anybody can offer you stem cells, but what sets one person up, one company, one clinic aside from another one? What makes the Mayo Clinic stem cells different than those in Vanderbilt, University of Florida, Detroit? I can't remember the name of it. What sets them apart? And the answer is the journey, right? Same thing with your hospital visits for MSA. What sets apart your doctors? You know, IU Health for me is the best, the way they operate together. They're all on the same page. There is no different story. There is no, oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't see that report. I didn't see that test. They're all on the same page, which is music to my ears. The journey for this treatment goes as follows. And it's pretty simple. Okay. Keep taking drinks because dry mouth. Cotton mouth is very common with MSA. And it's Mexican Coke, so it's even better. Now, before I came here to this visit, I just had another YouTube video I posted. I'm falling into everything. Not necessarily head diving, which I'll get to, but I was falling into everything. My voice was getting much worse. Initiating words was much worse. The tremors in my voice was much worse. Vocal cords, swallowing was much worse. My urinary gastrointestinal was much worse. There are many things that had started to go bad. I came here November 2nd with stem cells and got the exact same treatment as I did this week and last week. The only difference is I'm a little bit handicapped now because, well, not in that sense, but I'm a little injured and was strained because I had walking pneumonia, shoulder surgery, total shoulder replacement surgery, and aspiration pneumonia within the same 33 weeks. It was horrible, right? I had to be admitted for aspiration pneumonia. It was bad. That sequence of surgery, pneumonia, bankrupted me. It hurt me so bad, right? So I just got back to myself, feeling like myself, not even completely. I never recouped completely. It took a month or two for the anesthesia. That was in February, in the beginning of March. It took a couple months just to get through the anesthesia and getting your legs back together again, right? But I was still progressing. The surgeries, and the surgery and the pneumonia had wiped out my gains I had with my prior stem cell treatments, which was wonderful. The stem cell treatment before was so great. I wanted to know if I started talking to my wife. I said, I think I can go back to work again. But when you start thinking about those things, that's amazing. So we come back down here because we probably waited a little too long. But definitely the surgery and pneumonia wiped me out completely. So here I am with Dr. Miramontes, the brothers, and they use outside help as well. And I asked him to, tell me what he gave me. I asked the doctor, said, "Can you print out what you give me?" And I want you to understand where these stem cells come from. These are MSC stem cells. I didn't know this. I'm not sure if this happens in America or not, but here in Mexico, parents, when they have children, they can sign up to donate their infants' very young infants' teeth that come out, or when they do come out, donate the teeth to the medical centers, professional medical centers in Mexico, and if they're useful, they get paid for them, reimbursed. So they really explained to me very clearly today, to where basically they take, when the teeth come out, they examine the pulp that is inside of the teeth, on the roots, and if they examine it, and if it's live and growing and multiplying, they keep it and use it on people like us. If they do their diagnostics and it's not growing and not multiplying, they do not use it. Therefore, the person will not get paid. So I didn't realize that they actually collected teeth from babies and infants, and they use stem cells that are already growing and multiplying for diseases down here in Mexico, and anywhere, anyone who travels to Mexico, which is interesting. So one thing they gave me, so they on my three visits. Day 1 was vitamin B. Day 2 was vitamin C. I'm sorry. Day 1 was a few things: vitamin B injections, vitamin C injection, a DMSO anti-inflammatory medicine. And then they applied, as far as stem cells, they applied 100 million MSA stem cells, 5 billion exosomes, and transfer factor. And when I started, of course, Spanish is not my native language, but when I go to ask about it, exosomes are, as Jim and I helped me to explain this, exosomes are like tiny delivery trucks that cells use to send messages and supplies to each other. In the case of MSC stem cells, these little trucks can carry important cargo like proteins and genetic material. This helps the MSC stem cells stay healthy, repair damage, and even multiply when needed. Right? So the exosomes are there to help deliver the payload. Like bombing Iran, a person would say that, but no, same thing. 5 billion exosomes for 100 million stem cells. I bet you don't get 5 billion in the U.S. or wherever you went. I bet you don't get that. Nobody ever asked about this stuff. The transfer factor, our injections are thought to boost the immune system by helping it recognize and respond to threats more effectively. This could possibly be a certain infections and immune deficiencies, but it's important to remember it's still an area of research. So this is something that's still helping, like human growth hormone, transfer factor, very similar. So they are injecting something that isn't proven, but to them at least is useful. Vitamins B, C, and D are thought to have anti-inflammatory properties, and they help with conditions like arthritis and muscle soreness while they're going through your body. I asked why would they give 5 billion exosomes for 100 million MSC stem cells? And they said it's like a supercharged boost. Exosomes are packed with growth factors. You've heard of growth factors in the NFL, the NBA for injuries, baseball, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds. You've heard this before. We never paid attention to it until you got MSA. But they're packed with growth factors and proteins that help the stem cells regenerate and repair damaged tissue. So it's like giving them a powerful dose of medicine to help them do their job even better. One thing that they don't have on here, and I showed this on my other videos, there's a red bottle of protein from pig's brain. Probably something you won't get in USA. It's just probably something that's not FDA approved or whatever, or universally, thought to be working. But one way to get the stem cells to go up into the brain area is using this pig brain protein, to help it go where it's supposed to, which we need to go to the brain. So I get all the things I mentioned before. I got all on my first day in IV.
The doctor here, was proud to see me again. And I told him his medicine was working wonders before the actual pneumonia and surgery. And I was thanking him how easy it was and how grateful I was that it was working so well until I had the surgery and two pneumonias within a couple of weeks, and then it was kaput. Um, but that was all one day, all in one IV. So he doubled it this time. So he doubled my IV for the day one. On It says day two here, but on the 3 or 4 days later, I went for my spinal. It's not a spinal puncture. My wife, we had to do some googling of information because Spanish and English medicine does not necessarily transfer well to each other. So what I received when I say spinal puncture or injection is it's called an intra intrathecal. How do you say it, Sophia? Intrathecal intrathecal injection. So what I received intrathecal to the spinal cord canal, specifically to the suprachnoid subarachnoid space where cerebral spinal fluid circulates. It allows the medication to reach the CSF and circulate throughout the spinal column and brain effectively by bypassing the blood-brain barrier. And I should probably share this on my laptop, but we're not going to have that much power. I'm on a gaming laptop, not a normal PC. So the fact that they went through the cerebral spinal fluid, right? They injected it specifically into the subarachnoid space around spinal cord. It's a direct highway to the brain. It's a direct highway. I had injections in my nose in Chicago, Illinois for 10 or 12 grand. And it did not do anything because even with the nasal cavity, 4 injections, it's very hard to still get all of it or any of it to the cranial cavity, to your brain. So it's the journey that gets us the results that we have. So, and now, what I just had this morning was another IV, a double dose of everything that I listed before, that I said earlier in the video. And by the way, I didn't ask for it this time, but the first time we came here, he gave me the printouts of how effective the stem cells were. Again, they extract them from as the baby teeth falls out. They're sent in to professional health providers. Research. They're seeing are they good at multiplying? Yes. How good are they? And there is a linear line, and it says how all these dots signify how potent and how effective these stem cells are. So I didn't ask for it this time, but I had on my other YouTube video about stem cells, the original video, you can see the charts, the paperwork that shows you how effective the stem cells were. Okay. So it's the journey of how we get the stem cells to the brain and the spinal cord, because if you're having issues with autonomic, you have issues with your spinal cord, because that's where the issue's coming from. It's working its way from the brain to spinal cord. So not only has he given me all of these doses, which is wonderful, and he doubled them this time, which is great. But also, it's kind of hard with MSA to hold things up. He gave me 4 vials of I believe it's 100 million MSC stem cells orally to take home with me, right? So I'm trying to make sure that's 100, not billion. I'm pretty sure it is. It's the ME factor. It is. Oh, here you go.
Yeah. So he sent me home for once per week, starting on the Thursday, a week after my last treatment, once per week, 100 million MSC stem cells, all certified with the professional organizations down here in Mexico, right, to be just as good as the ones I received via IV or the injection on my spinal cord. One per week for 4 weeks to boost, right? So I got IVs that the IVs are going to help everything from below the brain, below the the brain's cord into the brain. And these the IVs will help everything down there, and orally they'll help everything down there too. The injection is what's going to get to my brain. That's going to help the back of the brain, help resolve some issues, right? Not only did he give me 4 more weeks of stem cells, but he also sent me home with vitamins that I needed to, as he says, right, multivitamin. Um, sure, I can't say it's in English or Spanish. I can't read it, but Merry Christmas. Chaya. He sent me home with bottles of stem cells. Oh, sorry, bottles of stem cells and vitamins, oral vitamins. And he said, I said, do I need to take these vitamins every couple months or 6 months or whatever? He said, no, you only take the vitamins through the peak um, efficacy of the procedures we had here. So the stem cells will be at their, how long did he say the stem cells will be at their peak?
For a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months. Yeah, I remember he said like 2.5 months. So we have more than that, right? I think that's when we have 4 or 6 months, but he says you only need to take these vitamins during the peak levels of stem cells that are going to work. And the guy has already added more immune factor and more transfer factor and exosomes to get things to my brain to where I'm wanting to go back to work. And my wife's like saying, you still have a terminal disease, right? Because I do. This is not a cure. And I hate to say this because there are a lot of good things happening in the MSA community. There are a lot of good things happening right now. But here's the fact that I had to tell myself. The fact was, do I understand that I am not going to, how do you want to say it? Do I understand that even if there is a clinical trial that is working, shows potential, has great potential, I won't live to see it. And if you have MSA also, that means you too, with all due respect. So why would I want to go to treatments at another country than participate in clinical trials? I still want to participate in clinical trials. Absolutely. But by the time the clinical trials are done and there's any efficacy and they're safe and they've gone through other phases, and I would be a vegetable by then. So it's like ALS. Have someone like Stephen Hawking with ALS before he passed. There's a cure. You give it to him. He's not going to regrow that muscle. He's not going to talk the way he ever did. He's not going to think. He still his mind wasn't affected to the very, very end where he died. But nothing would positive per se would come from him. And that's something we have to face with MSA is which road do we want to go through? Do we want to go through experimental procedures, experimental treatments, which this is, or clinical trials? And for me, it's a double-edged sword for me because I'm younger, 41, to get your symptoms 45 right now, years old. I'm young and I don't give up. I try my best. I try more than anybody on this planet to be physical and keep walking and keep trying. And it costs me because I do too well at clinical trials. I do too well. So the clinical trials are more likely to hurt me than help me, or I'm not what they're looking for. Right? That's the problem. It's unfair for people like me who have, come to Mexico and face planted myself in the arms 2 times before these stem cells, twice. That's why I have my ice pack on. Right? 2 times I planted. My wife will tell you, face plant. I was not able to help myself to brace my fall because of how bad it was. And there's a little period of them giving you IV fluid, but when they inject through your spine, there's a little window. There's a few hours of you can have severe head pain, neck pain, and it could cause you, depending on the medicine you have, like I do, to be very easy just to fall. And this was the first time in history I've nosedived, I've dolphin dived to the floor. In Mexico, it's all hard floors, people. It's all marble or granite. I think marble. It hurt. I'm pretty sure I re-injured or hurt something very badly on the shoulder because that took the side of the bed is wood or whatever, and the marble and the other one I fell down was marble too. So I'm sure I just screwed something up because it hurts horribly to move my left arm, horribly. But I'm not. I'll get treatment when I get back to U.S. Right? I'm okay here. So do you think when I say treatment, I mean treating the symptoms? Somebody's trying to help. What's the best way? What's best for you? I can't say what's best for you. I'm still mobile. The best treatment for me is to keep me mobile, keep me going, and keep me active as long as I can. And then I die. I'm being serious with that. And then I die. But the other part is, what about if you're not mobile like me, still mobile? If in my own opinion, we're not. If you're looking to watch this video right now, and you still are alive in MSA, we're not going to live to see a cure. If there's a cure tomorrow, the process it takes to get it to the market will take too long for us, and we're in a timeout. So the question is, should I have clinical trials and participate in helping, which I tried, or should I have other experimental research treatments, at other countries or whatever? And in my honest opinion, if you're able to still move, you're not hooked up to a machine per se. I think these treatments will do you better because they have the better efficacy on your body. Just since I've had the first treatment, I remember since I had this treatment on Friday, I believe it was Saturday. Friday morning was the first one. I have regained my balance. Now, this is the spinal injection brought pressure up in the head, extra spinal fluid, cranial fluid. It sent me back for 2 days. Last time here, it sent me back 3 days because, the bus rides, the taxi rides, it hurt at the head, and it hurt at the base of your neck where it meets the spinal cord and the brain. For me, that's common. It's happened twice. It's okay. I can take the pain. This time wasn't as bad as the last because I knew what to expect, and I brought my pain medicine. Okay, I didn't expect that last time. This time I expected it, and I had pain medication. I was okay. What I was not prepared for was, okay, I can deal with the pain now, but it made me dolphin dive or nose dive into the floor anytime I turn the corner, for any to get dressed, to turn around back to the bed to grab my phone. That's the problem. It did that in the middle of the night when I had to wake up to go to the bathroom because I was drinking so much water. Not during the day, not during the day, but for a few hours in nighttime. If I woke up, I would dolphin dive almost immediately upon standing up. So, it made my walking much more labored. Like I showed you before in other videos, like walking in water on a beach, knees in front of me, sticking my belly out, trying forcing myself to walk. And after that went away, right, I'm no longer dizzy. Again, just like my previous videos, I am no longer dizzy again. I'm no longer seeing blackouts. And so that high blood pressure / dizziness thing has gone. Its own direction. It's not happening right now. Urology, I have much stronger flow, which is great. I'm able to not have incontinence of any kind. I'm not sure if you can apply incontinence to urinary, but we're going to use that term. Able to keep what's in, and when it's time to go, pull it out, expel it, vacate. There you go, right? So it's helped in urinary, gastrointestinal already. It's helped with my speech. Because if you watch my videos by now, I would already have lost my voice. I wouldn't be able to speak. It's helping my speech because I am enunciating better. I'm not having issues with my stuttering as much right now, right? And this is peak time right now. It's hot, right? It's 80-something degrees over here, and I mean for here it's hot. We had breakfast this morning, buffet, doctor appointment, all the treatments. Went to the central market to walk around a lot. I can guarantee you a mile or two, and came back to here, and here we are. I'm still going. I'm much more lively. I mean, I still have rashes in the bread because of the heat or whatever, MSA, but I'm still here. I look and sound like normal David with MSA. I'm able to explain these things, to show you things. So I'm going to post this where you guys can see it. This is not a cure, but man, if you had the ability to gain back things that you had, I feel bad. I feel bad again. I feel bad for people who go immediately to wheelchairs, walkers, canes, catheterization, even through I don't know what they use for it, tracheotomy or whatever. I feel bad for people who go straight to these things because they've almost completely lost them or have lost them without trying something first. Because once they take your colon out, you can't get it back, or your bladder, or your vocal cords, or whatever. I don't think they take your vocal cords out. But once you lose these things, you can't get them back. So trying something that might work, benefit, and be beneficial is worth every penny, every dollar. And, and the costs here vary, right? I mean, in general, about $5,000. Could be more, could be less, right? I mean, they're very kind here. My daughter has a toe that's and now affected it, and he treated her for free, gave her some antibiotic take. Doctors here are very pure. They mean well. They want to help you. They want to help what's best for you. Is it about the money? Yeah, of course it is. Otherwise, I don't have a business. But this Dr. Miramontes, the brothers, they're AC/DC famous here in Mexico. They're very AC/DC famous, and they're on every talk show you think of in Spanish. And they post in English. I can't say anything that's bad about them. I came in this time. I said, "Hey, on a spinal injection, let's try things a little bit differently. I need my feet to be a little bit higher, or whatnot, and so I don't move." And guess what he did? He allowed me to have my wife come in, hold me, and we up the stairs so I don't move my legs. And there you go. What doctor lets you come in and dictate how I'm going to position myself? And yet he did. they allowed for it. Right? It's not America. You're not going to get the same standards of sanitation per se, but they try their best, and they try their best to help cure you or treat you for what you're here for. And that's why I promote, and I definitely help. I back Dr. Miramontes and the two brothers, because they definitely try. They listen to you and they try their best. So now that they've given me a double dose of my first visit here, they doubled everything. Now I'm very interested to see how well I'm going to do now. Things have already improved so far, and we haven't even left Mexico yet. And that's after two bad nights of dealing with the injection that seems to only happen to me, because I ask other people who've been here, I said, do you get the headaches and the neck thing? They're like, no. It's probably because I move. I have myoclonic jerks, right? Myoclonic movements. My body will just move spontaneously apart, the whole thing, pieces of it. I moved. I know, I told us the last time, I said, my pain was so bad, I was down for 3 days. It wasn't you, I moved. This time, let's do it better. Let's make it so my feet don't move, my legs don't move, my hands don't move, right? And my wife in there, it was only 2 days, and it was very mild. So I probably still moved, but not as much. So am I willing to take that type of pain again, which wasn't that bad this time, to have the great success I had before the pneumonia and surgery? Absolutely. Next time, I'll just remember to, if I wake up early in the morning or middle of the night, I'm going to dolphin dive to the floor head first, like I did this time twice. That hurts. You have to be somebody special to go head first into the floor. But I will be prepared next time for that, and I won't get up and move. Or even if my wife helps me get up and move, maybe I have a urinal beside my bed or something. I will do something different than I did this time to make it work. But I want you guys to see my videos right now, see my face, so you can't compare and contrast to other videos. Whether it's MSA Crusaders or my YouTube channel, MSA Strong, it doesn't matter which one you compare. But it works. Is everything FDA approved? I'm sure not all of it, but we're behind. Since the 80s and 90s, research into this stuff has been banned in the US. We're decades behind. And these other countries are light years ahead of us. So why would I pay $10,000 in Chicago, northern Chicago, for stem cells that did nothing? They took my own stem cells that have to be bad, right? And they're deficient. And use them on me. Why would I spend $10,000 hoping to cross the brain barrier when we spend $5,000, half the price, and guaranteed to cross the blood-brain barrier? It makes absolute sense when you think about it. So, I will answer people's questions. We'll have a live chat sometime. I know I'm live right now, but I'm not looking at the chat per se, just because we have limited time. But I want to say thank you, and to everyone who's asking questions, good for you. Everyone that keeps saying, why, what treatment, or explain treatment. It's hard to type this much. It's hard to speak this much into Gemini or Google and it's translated to dictate it correctly. So videos is how I really do these things. Well, the big answers. This is the treatment I got twice. The first time it helped like I'd never seen something. I was so blessed to think about going back to work until my shoulder surgery and my 2 pneumonias knocked it out, right? So I expect this one to do nothing less, nothing short of what it did before, and even more since he doubled it up. He knows they know what they're doing, and I support them, but you have to do what's best for you, and that's all I can offer. Do what's best for you in your time you have remaining to do to keep going. Giving up is not the answer. So I appreciate you, and I will see you all in the next video. Again, don't be strong. be MSA strong. I'll see you soon.